Okay. Hey, Chad, good meeting you. So, talk about it feeds because it's always interesting to see things like this. You can never go wrong when you have someone who's kind of clairvoyant and all of a sudden spooky things are happening, right? Because I treasure my people who can read me and everything like that. And when I'm seeing this, I'm like, didn't think about this part where other entities start to creep in. It's kind of strange. At the same time, scary, especially for those people who believe in that. What say you about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think creating a scary movie was something that I've always wanted to do. I've done a ton of films in the past. I've produced about 35 features over the years, and we've done gross films, and we've done, suspenseful films, and we've done funny films. But I don't know if we ever really did a film that scared the crap out of people. A lot of the films like Smile and Insidious and The Conjuring, and they're so much fun to watch. And I'm really like I'm that guy who jumps out of my seat. My wife is like, she's stone cold, and I'm the one who's covering my eyes and looking through. So I really wanted to make a film that was exciting, that had a bunch of laughs in it, that also terrified people, and kind of found that fine line of tone that could be just a fun ride that still deals with some dark and traumatizing concepts, but also delivers some scares and gives you a ton of laughs. And then
You know,
also has a being able to create an awesome, terrifying creature that that's always fun as a horror movie filmmaker.
it's I've gotten to the point now that after 7 o'clock I can't watch a film like this because I don't want to have dreams because I'll have vivid dreams like that. I can't have that. Anytime before that, that's my new rule because I'm older now, and it's one of these things where I've always liked it when you didn't see something, it was just as scary. Now you see it, and it's even more scary because of all the technology and everything. It doesn't matter if you're using AI or whatever, it's still about the story. Talk about the story. Why is this in story important? Because you still got to get it written. You still got to get the funding for it, especially, and you with Samuel Goldwyn, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean it was a personal story for me for sure. I think on the outside for most viewers, it's a fun, scary film. But for me, I kind of cracked this script when I made it more personal for myself. I had lost both my parents to cancer since I had done my last movie 5 years ago, and I dealt with it myself as well. And I was having a hard time kind of, figuring out a script that really mattered to me. Even in the horror genre, it's like it's so important, and it comes across when you make a film that's special to you and that has like some importance and some connection to you personally. So this one, I struggled for a while, and then all of a sudden one day it kind of clicked in my head that I was like, what if I created this entity that was like a demonic version of cancer, of that just wanted to feed and destroy, and it didn't have some crazy mythology and some book or some artifact or whatever, or have like a ton of different motives in the some deep religion. It's like, what if it's this demonic parasite and all it does is feed? So at that point I got very excited because now I got to write some kick-ass characters that would go beat the crap out of this thing. So really at that point, I sat down and I wrote the entire script in about 7 days, and it just came together so quickly. And just with this concept as well, it really allowed me to draw in all these inspirations from films that I've always loved, like Nightmare on Elm Street and The Ring, The Cell and The Fountain. And really, they just all came together and allowed me to do a script that really, like every day on set, I was like drawing from movies that really inspired me all my life. So it was so much fun to make. And I mean, I think it all comes across in the final product too.
Talk about getting your lead actors. That's always fun when you can get somebody that caliber, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we were up against time for sure because when we got the project greenlit, all of a sudden there was this actor strike that was coming up. So we had a small window, and we knew if we didn't cast it in time, which often takes 8 months, a year, if we didn't cast it in time, we would have to push the movie a year or more forward, right? And you never want to do that because often when a movie gets pushed, it just never gets made. So luckily enough, we sent the script out to Ashley and Shawn, and they absolutely loved it. And, we got on the phone and chatted through it and why it was important to me, and kind of, went through some of their personal stories as well. And boom, it was like a week later we were on set and they're in wardrobe and we were shooting this movie. And I mean, I just feel so lucky that they come on board, because they were all such pros. And I mean, this was such an ambitious movie. Budget was very small for this kind of thing. And, every single day, they came with their A game, and, they challenged the right moments of it, and they worked with me, and, we adjusted lines here and there and adjusted ideas. And, it just really felt like they really wanted this to be the best movie that they could, or that it can be. Even with, so much against us, kind of creating this, these insane fantasy worlds with like, very little money. It was really, really exciting to be on set and just see so many passionate people come together to make this movie what it is today.
That's a great thing. Hey, last question on this, because I did like this. Obviously, I watched it during this morning during the day, because I can't watch these at night anymore. Because I will have those type of things. What would you say to get the audience to come out and see this? Because this is a quick turnaround for this.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of big films out there in this genre that are, big, huge studio movies that have been, reworked to be formulaic for the audience and for box office and whatever. This is an independent movie. This is outside of the system. We all work very, very hard to make it feel as big as it could be. But this is really just an independent film that's swinging as hard as it can be to scare people and to kind of get out there in the world. So coming out and supporting this movie is also supporting just independent cinema. It's looking outside of the big corporations that are trying to kind of dictate what everyone watches every day. So I think it's important that you get out there and see these stories that are refreshing and a little bit of what you like already, but also twists and turns that you don't see coming.
Absolutely. Congratulations. Good for you. Look forward to seeing this in the theaters. I'm going to take one of my friends to see it. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. So anytime we can get to a theater, because it's about supporting the arts, independent, films. And I always tell everybody about that, especially when I'm on the road, which I am right now. Congratulations, Chad, with you for that. And
Thanks so much,
I
Brian.
would always say to everybody, you have to support cinema. You have to go see these films, right?
Absolutely. You're saying it.
Thank you, Stanley.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian.
All right.
Thanks,
We will
Brian.
talk soon.